I've been off Facebook for a couple of months now. I don't know if anyone noticed, it doesn't really matter, but I just couldn't deal with the constant stupid notifications of look at what this friend commented on that person's post. Just these attempts from Facebook to keep me on the platform. The notifications became really irrelevant, and all the ads, I just had enough. I stopped posting about human design, so I felt like there is nothing left for me to do on Facebook. So I'm making this video um, to tell you that yes, I'm definitely done with human design. I'm not making this video to convince you to stop with human design. I don't really care what anyone does with their own life. If it helps you, great. Um, for me personally, I started feeling more and more conflicted about human design, as if you've been following me, you know that my perspective on the system was quite different, was very, heretical, whatever you want to call it. I would not say it was heretical, I would just say it was realistic, but that's me. I just decided it's time to speak honestly about where I am now. Even if that means that many people who follow this channel will no longer be following. If you've only been following me for human design, for me teaching you this system, by all means unfollow me. That's totally fine. So I'm not going to be making any more videos about teaching human design, explaining charts, and I'm not even replying to emails that are asking me to do readings anymore. I want to focus on me. I want to make this about my own experience, my life, and also slightly the way that various spiritual systems, including human design, are affected or have affected me over the years. I want to talk about things that I rarely talked about while I was making human design content, and especially about my struggles with social anxiety and the way in which human design did not in any way help me overcome my issue, but actually kind of put me deeper into the fear. I was in love with human design, as many of you still are, especially in the beginning. When I had my first reading, I immediately asked about my social anxiety, and I was told that that's just the result of me being not self. Okay. But at the same time, I was told I'm a projector and I should wait and I should never initiate anything, which is exactly what I've done my entire life. And it got me nowhere because I'm just too nervous to initiate anything. That's why throughout all these years of me teaching human design, I never once did a live session. I never did a course where I would personally or like live teach it to people. I would do pre-recorded courses. I would do pre-recorded readings because I just cannot cope with people. The social anxiety is probably kind of a new term for you if you've even heard of it before. And it's like everyone has it, but I've had it before I had a name for it. I've had it. The earliest memory that I have of it is when I was 4 or 5 years old, and Santi came to our how do you call it, nursery, and we were all about to receive gifts from Santi, but I was too nervous to go there in front of everyone and receive my gift. And so my mom at that time worked as a play school teacher, and so she took me, and we waited until all the kids have received their presents so that I can go last. And my mom held my hand. And I think that was wrong. Absolutely. I should have been thrown in more. But yeah, that's in the past and it cannot change. Anyways, the human design. In the beginning, I hope that it will help me explain this, that it will help me find clarity about why this is happening to me, and maybe I will find a way to overcome it. And then through my whole study of nodes and environments, I realized, well, it made sense to me that I had a channel, unconscious 3041, and it was made out of my environment, one of the nodes, and my design sun. So to me, what made sense with such placements was that my body is placed in these environments. And when it's placed in these environments, that is when I feel this definition. And so what happens to me is just my body will react in this way, in an anxious way, in a panic attack way, in a nervous way when placed in my correct environment. So I thought, well, that is a kind of a positive explanation for it for me to help myself understand this, and then I will be able to maybe overcome it. But I'm 35. I have not been able to overcome this in 30 years now. So, no, it didn't help. It didn't help at all. Um, Human design didn't work for me because it came with a lot of rules so that were against who I am. Human design told me told me about this new identity that I should take on, told me who I am, and said that everything I know about myself is wrong and that it knows better. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work for me. My entire life, I am trying to adopt identities that will work for me, that will work for the people around me. Since I was a kid, my parents were very ambitious for me, and they put me in activities that could potentially make them a lot of money, like, for example, tennis, which I played for over 10 years. But I was just average. I was good among the kids in my village because there was just a few of us. But when I went for the tournaments, I didn't do so great. And I kind of crushed their hopes. And so, yeah, um, my whole life, there is expectations of me from my parents to this day. To this day, they cannot accept that I live on a countryside, that I don't work, that I'm not rich and famous. And they, well, especially one of them, keeps telling the world of how successful I am and that I live here and I've renovated this house and I'm so amazing. I work online, I make so much money. But none of that is real. So my whole life revolves around these identities um, that I should take on, but I can't. So I quickly realized that human design was doing the same thing to me. And I'm sick of that. I'm sick of my entire life, people, systems, society telling me what I should be and how I should be like. I just want to be me. And me is very uncomfortable. It's very unpredictable. It's very uncertain. But it's the only thing I can be at this point because nothing else worked. So instead of helping me overcome my fears, human design just kind of justified this need for me to avoid people, to avoid situations that trigger me, to avoid everything. I moved to the countryside on a mountain. I have two neighboring houses that are like old people, so I have no friends. I don't even want them. It's not that I'm suffering because of that. I don't like to have friends. I don't like to have people around me. But now I recognize that that is a problem. My entire life, I'm convinced that I'm just an introvert, but I'm not. I just have a phobia. And this phobia is a very difficult one. And whenever I open up to someone about it, they say, oh, I'm also shy. I also have fear of public speaking. I am also anxious. Well, I no, that doesn't relate to me. It's not the same. It's like if you have a phobia, which is like an extreme fear of something, say you have a phobia of spiders, and you live a life where every time you leave your house, you're surrounded by spiders, they're everywhere. Well, that's how it is with social phobia. So you can guess how happy I was when I was told that I should just sit back, wait, do nothing. The life will come to me. I shouldn't initiate anything. That was so easy. It was way too easy for me. And it does not work. And I'm someone who doesn't live in the homogenized, whatever you want to call it, world because I live away from it. I live very remotely. We had recently last month, just 2 weeks ago, we had 3 full days with no electricity and no water. And those days have taught me more about myself, about life, about my family than all the years in human design, than all my life that I've been trying to study different or understand different esoteric systems, spiritual systems. So, on one hand, human design said, this is happening to you because you're not self. On the other hand, it said, no, you're not insecure. It's just part of your design. So, I struggled with this way before I came across human design. And I was already someone who never reached out to people, who overanalyzed every conversation, who overanalyzed how to order a pizza, who I needed to spend an hour to appropriately figure out how to appropriately order a pizza. Like, it's ridiculous. Um, so yeah, when someone like me who has this type of background starts to believe that I'm not supposed to initiate and then I should be waiting to be recognized and formally invited and whatever, the effect can be very, very different than what the intention is. I bet that the intention is positive, but the result is not always. So human design became this very comfortable place to hide, to justify why I'm hiding, it kept my whole being in this state of safety. Um, and I believe that this was spiritually correct. That this is who I am. This is just my design. But sometimes it's a trauma, sometimes it's more than that. Even when I did human design videos before, I always had to make sure I'm calm and I don't come across emotional. I don't come across angry or agitated or nervous. I don't care anymore. I cannot care anymore. I have to come here and be as raw as possible. And I bet my voice is a bit shaky. And I don't care to fix it. I don't care to try to sound appropriately. I'm not saying human design is bad for you, really. If it works for you, it works for you. That's fine. I'm just saying I am personally done with it. It has not done any good for me. And all these various systems that present themselves as like a key to self-knowledge, they become the most powerful conditioning because they don't come with openness. They come with set rules. They come with interpretations that you should not stray away from. They come with identities. And so people start to use these to filter their own lives, their own experiences. They convince themselves that their experiences are wrong because the system said so. I convinced myself that I'm not intuitive. And now I realize I'm the most intuitive person I've ever known, which is something I would never have said about myself before, ever. I have dreams my entire life that are repeatable, not the same, but the theme is exactly the same. And that is me driving a car or being driven by someone else in a car and things going wrong. Other vehicles too, like boats, planes, doesn't matter. But it's always a vehicle because I don't have a driver's license and I have a huge fear of it, of driving. And I always end up in those kind of dreams where I'm losing control or somebody else is in control of my fate, like driving me, right? And then the other day I had a dream of this giant moth landing on my face and trying to come into my mouth. And I was trying my best to get it off, but it was so stiff, I could not. It was really difficult. But it was really persistent, trying to get inside of my mouth. And for me, that was a sign. That's what this is about. I'm sick of pretending. Pretending got me nowhere, and it only brought me anxiety. I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to strive to be perfect. But there are still people in my life who want me to be perfect, and I can't do anything about that. So, yeah, again, if you're only following me for human design, you can unfollow me now because I'm going to continue in a completely different direction. I'm even recording in my shed. I don't want anything artificial in these videos anymore. Anything. Um, yeah. So all I want to say is that human design or any other system can have a negative effect too. Is just if you, it's important that you allow yourself to see it, to see things realistically, because we often not, because we're seduced by the magic, by the promise that comes at the end. Funny enough, human design doesn't even come with a specific enough result, and still everyone's hoping for something. Your cells will change. Oh yeah, that's great. Human design only made it easier for me to stay in my fears, and I don't think that it created any real change in my life whatsoever. It was just a very um, confusing narrative that I had to work through, that I had to learn, and that is what I liked about it. I liked that the information wasn't so straightforward, that there were so many contradictions that I had to work for it. It wasn't just given on served on a plate. If it was, I would not have been interested in it at all. I could have also just continued with readings and whatever, even if I don't believe in this system anymore. But I can't. It's literally against my system. I cannot force myself to teach something that I think doesn't work. That I personally see no value in. So yeah, from now on, this will be way more personal, way less structured. It's going to be real. It's going to be about real experiences, about psychological struggles, about fears and growth, and the process of, trying to live without needing to rely on another system. But uh, uncovering my true self and being able to accept that true self, even if that true self is fucked up and nervous and afraid of all of you. I'm not going to give you any answers. I don't have many answers at all. What I can just share is my search for it, and that's that. I would rather, face life imperfectly from now on and honestly at the same time than trying to explain my experiences and this reality through ideas that don't feel true to me. I I forgot to talk. I thought, how am I gonna communicate to people without a framework, without a narrative, without something I can talk about? But yeah, it's fine. It's a matter of practice, I suppose. After being inside of the frame, inside of the narrative for so long, it's learning or unlearning again. So if you're interested, if you're here, if you're following for me, then that's lovely. And I'd love to have you stay. But if you're following me for human design, then this is a time to go.